Today we welcome Elena Camargo. Elena, welcome. Elena is a breast cancer survivor and she's been in remission for 20 years. Welcome, Elena, and I hope you enjoy it. Elena, I want to talk a little bit about the process that you went through and an unfortunate diagnosis. I wanted to know, what was your life before being diagnosed with breast cancer?
Actually, because of the fact that I had no physical symptoms, my life was normal, of a mother with 2 young boys. I did a lot of activities. I was extremely active with them and myself. I did a lot of cycling and swimming, and I had no symptoms of this disease, which was why I was in such shock when I was diagnosed. And I was diagnosed by a fluke, by somebody giving me a free coupon to have a free mammogram, because if I had not had a mammogram, I would have never been lucky enough to have been diagnosed, because what I had was what they call microcalcifications, which are only detected by a mammogram, which this is why I feel extremely lucky, and I want to just encourage all women to get mammograms, because this is the reason why I am here. The mammogram actually saved my life, and 20 years later I can still talk about it.
Absolutely. Incredible. Did you present any symptoms that led you to seek medical help? Did you
No, I had no symptoms at all. None at all. So there was no reason for me to seek anything. I had 2 healthy boys. They were both being breastfed, as a matter of fact, and sometimes you hear the story about if you breastfeed, you don't get breast cancer.
Yes, as I know, you had 2 boys.
2 boys.
3 and a 4-year-old.
3 and 4-year-old, and the most horrible thing is to think that, you know, you have children that at that age they're going to lose their mother, because the minute you get diagnosed with something like this, the first thing you think about is death. And I thought, well, here are my boys, so young, and they're going to lose their mother. But they didn't, thank God. And I stayed very positive and did everything that I was told, and I'm very lucky.
When you first got diagnosed, and obviously you had to break the news to your family, how was it like? Well, what was their reaction?
The reaction of my husband was total negative. And the family also. It's a very hard thing when you have to tell your family that you have cancer, because like me, they also thought, oh my God, death at such a young person with such young children. But they were very helpful. They were extremely helpful in my when I was getting my chemo, and when I was feeling sick. Everybody was extremely helpful, and all my friends were always right there for me. So I had incredible support.
That's great. I mean, yeah. I'm sure that we couldn't do it without the help of our family and loved ones, and yeah. It's incredible. What stage of cancer were you diagnosed with? And
actually, I don't really remember, because 20 years ago they did not tell you those things. The only thing that I know is that it was very aggressive, and there were calcifications.
Incredible.
I'm sorry, that's all I could remember right now.
That's okay. Going back to the day that you had your surgery to have it removed, what was it like when you were in the hospital, knowing that you just had it removed?
Yeah.
What went through your mind?
What went through my mind was the most important thing at the time was just getting rid of the cancer. That was my main concern. I know that there are, you know, and this is something that is very personal of me. I wanted the cancer out of my system, and it did not bother me as much as losing a breast. I know that some women that is extremely important, but to me it was being cured and getting the cancer out of my system.
At that point, yes. It's not a matter of vanity, and it's not a matter
Vanity was not there at all. As a matter of fact, I have never had reconstruction, and I am still extremely happy. I'm very happy with myself. So reconstruction was not even an option.
Incredible. From previous conversations that we had, I know that you went through preventive chemo treatments.
Yes, because of the young age at the time, 20 years ago, 40 years old was pretty young. They did 11 months of preventive chemo just to make sure that the cancer was out. And also I took a drug that was, recommended also because of the age.
What was it like, walking and knowing that it was the first day of a long process, but it had to be done?
It had to be done, and I was extremely positive about it. I never for one moment mentioned the fact, why me? I knew that it was something that had to be taken care of, and because of all the I surrounded myself with positive people. I even went to a support group of women that were going through the same thing that I was going through. I didn't want to go through a regular cancer survivor group. I wanted to go to a breast cancer survivor group. And I found one, and it was extremely helpful to be surrounded by people that were going through what I was going through.
Absolutely, that's incredible.
Yeah. And the positiveness, it was very good.
Were you surprised at how difficult it was to recover from chemo, from radiation, from the whole process? How draining was it? Because at that age, you had two little boys. You had a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. It must have taken a toll on your family.
Yes, and it did, but like I said before, they were very helpful, and I would have my friends come, and they took over, and every day I had a different person bring me food, and they played, they took my kids on play groups, and they understood that they were very young, but they understood. I was very open with my boys, and they knew their mother had been sick, and they could see it. They could see that I was sick, but they were good, and I was always very open with them, and we stayed together as a family always.
So they knew that.
Yes.
Obviously, Mom was going through a hard situation.
Mommy was sick. It was not a secret at all.
Absolutely. It must have taken a toll. I mean, I can't even imagine how difficult it must have been for you, especially obviously 20 years ago, that doctors would keep it as a secret, and they wouldn't disclose that much information when it came to breast cancer.
Yeah.
It must have been
cancer
horrible.
was a bad word 20 years ago.
They say that strong is a person that never gives up. Did you ever, at any point doing radiation or chemo, did you give up? Did you say, that's it?
No,
this is
never.
too difficult.
No, never. I had those 2 kids.
You had those 2 kids.
No, I had those 2 kids, and I did not want them to lose their mother. I didn't want to become their mother. A picture. This is your mother. I wanted to be I wanted to be there in flesh.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to be a picture.
They say that self-exams and yearly mammograms are
very
essential
important
to making sure that your health is quite adequate. And were you aware of self-exams?
Not really.
No.
Actually, when I was diagnosed, I didn't even know anyone that had breast cancer.
Incredible.
And that was very hard, not to know anybody, not another woman that I could go to and say, hey, what, how is this? All I had was a doctor, and thank God I had a very good doctor who was very honest and very upfront with me.
The last day of treatment, you're finishing, you're done, you feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, that was...
What was it like? What went through your mind the last day that you walked out of it?
Well, it was an accomplishment, but also in the back of your mind, you're always saying, is this it? And then the next time you feel sick, you say, oh my gosh, maybe. And anytime that and even today, 20 years later, anytime that I feel sick or I go to a doctor, I have the memories, because they're not going to go away.
That's what I was going to bring up. Self-exams, as I previously said, are a very preventive method of making sure that you're okay. What are some of the preventive methods that you have taken in order for, self and to be cancer-free? What have you done for these 20 years that you've been in remission to stay cancer-free? Have you changed any eating habits? Have you exercised more?
Yes, lots of exercise, and actually I've always done exercise all my life, a lot of exercises. The eating habits, yes, I've changed them a little bit, but I cannot say that I have totally changed. But eating and exercise are very important.
They're
very
essential,
important.
obviously.
And they're essential in anything, you know. Even if you want to, you know, in life, just eating and exercise are very important.
Incredible. Elena, what are some of the changes that you have experienced in your life due to breast cancer? Having to go through remission for 20 years, having to endure this with 2 little kids. Well, what have been some of the changes that...
Well, it has given me a totally different outlook on life. Totally, and I think that's a big word, an outlook on life.
Incredible, my goodness. And last but not least, I want to know, what would you say to millions of Americans that might be watching this? What would you say to them? What is not to be afraid? I mean,
definitely do not be afraid. I mean, we have come a long ways, and thanks to Susan G. Komen and the foundation and what they're doing out there for research for early detection. And that's the key to beating this disease, early detection. Because if you catch it on time, there is a cure. Definitely there's a cure. So don't be afraid. Mammograms hurt for seconds.
Yes.
And it's your life, a whole life.
And proven. We have Elena next to us 20 years after being diagnosed with breast cancer. Elena, what an accomplishment, I must say.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here, and it's great to share your story with the rest of women out there that might be feeling, you know, your case. It's great, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks a lot.